if you've ever had a setback so profound, it felt like the world stopped spinning, then I think this deep dive is for you. We're looking today at a set of source material that takes ultimate personal failure and uses it as a launch pad for the highest possible spiritual success.
That's right.
We are analyzing excerpts from the work titled The Silence of the Jungle and That Final Decision, or in its original language, Agio e Obera. And this is such an intensely focused piece of writing. It really gives us a blueprint for a radical spiritual transformation, all centered on one individual.
Right.
So our mission today is to guide you through the raw emotional core of this narrative. It's about a character who experiences a catastrophic failure in worldly love and then pivots instantly to a life of complete renunciation.
And it's our job to find those moments.
Exactly. We need to identify the exact moments, the surprising philosophy, and, the symbolic actions that define this monumental shift from material devotion to becoming a dervish. The stage for this is already set with such powerful symbolism, isn't it? You have a central character who is isolated, completely surrounded by this profound, deep, quiet, the sonata of the jungle.
And they're facing a crisis so devastating that it doesn't just change their life.
It ends their old life.
It ends it entirely. It's the ultimate crucible. And for you, the learner, this is fascinating because it presents this idea that that real clarity can be born from total chaos.
So let's start with the trigger. What is the specific moment that ignites this whole conflagration? Because the speed of the character's reaction is, I think, arguably the most radical part of the entire narrative.
It is. And the source material is, it's brutally efficient. There's no long buildup. There's no existential dread over weeks or months.
Okay.
The character, having retreated to this isolated place, sees their former beloved with someone else. And that single acute visual image is the inciting incident.
Just seeing them.
Just that.
Yeah.
And the text doesn't say they felt sad or, disappointed. It states explicitly that this sight breaks them. It's a physical, acute, just undeniable pain that shatters their entire reality.
That distinction is so important, the instantaneous shattering quality of it.
Yes.
It tells you immediately that this isn't a story about, intellectualizing grief. It's about a wound so deep that the immediate visceral response is, the entire framework I built my life upon is false.
Absolutely. And what's remarkable is the totality of what happens next. This intense pain, this utter devastation, it doesn't lead to anger or revenge. It leads instantly to the decision to completely abandon the material world, the dunya.
Instantly.
There is zero space for trying to recover that love or find a replacement within the same system. The failure is so absolute that it necessitates an absolute solution.
It's almost like spiritual shock therapy. The failure of that deepest worldly connection, it doesn't push the character towards cynicism or self-destruction. It becomes the direct, unavoidable catalyst for seeking a connection outside of human error. We often think of heartbreak as a detour, but in this text, it's shown as the destination. It's the only way to the new path.
And that speaks to a profound intensity of emotion, doesn't it? The character must have possessed this incredible capacity for devotion. And when the object of that devotion proved fleeting or, unattainable, the natural energy of that emotion didn't just dissipate. It was forced to seek a more permanent, a non-material target.
Well, love collapses.
The material structure of love collapses, and the character bypasses any attempt to rebuild that worldly life and seeks a structure, the divine, that exists outside of human fallibility.
Okay, so once that radical decision is made to abandon the world, the character doesn't just wander aimlessly. They choose a highly defined spiritual trajectory, the life of a dervish.
Yes.
What does that choice entail, and how do they physically manifest such an intense internal commitment?
Well, the choice of the dervish path is crucial context for you, the listener. It's not just a rejection of society. It's an adoption of a rigorous, disciplined alternative society. One based on poverty, devotion, and sometimes ecstatic communion. And to cement this choice, both internally and externally, the character undertakes several powerful symbolic acts that just strip away the old self.
Let's focus on those, the specific visual acts. They give us such a striking image of this transformation.
The text details two immediate powerful acts. The first is sarmun wakar,
Which means shaving the head.
shaving the head.
Yeah.
And this act is historically and culturally loaded. It's not just getting a haircut. It is the literal removal of status, of vanity, and personal recognizable identity. In many traditions, the hair is the seat of status and pride.
Right.
So removing it is an instant declaration of humility and servitude to a higher ideal.
Wow. That speaks to an incredible internal surrender. I mean, moving from a character deeply invested in personal love and worldly appearance to someone who just willingly embraces anonymity.
Exactly. And the second act reinforces this dramatically. Removing all ornaments, or zivarat utarkar.
All the jewelry.
All of it. Ornaments aren't just decoration. They are markers of wealth, of social standing, of possessiveness. By stripping away every single piece, the character is signaling a final, absolute break from the entire system of worldly value.
You're stepping outside of it.
Completely. They're moving outside of the society's system of defining worth by what you own or how you look. They're basically saying, I am nothing but my devotion.
That just seems incredibly difficult to do in practice. We are all so tied to our external markers. I can understand the philosophy, but the reality of shedding all that personal identity so quickly must require immense strength.
It requires a pain so intense that the prospect of staying in the world is more terrifying than the prospect of renouncing it all. The stripping away of the outward self is the prerequisite for rebuilding the internal self. And the source makes it really clear what the foundation of this new self will be.
So what are the chosen virtues for this new life? It's a shift from all this outward dramatic action to quiet internal discipline.
The new structure is built on two core virtues: patience, or sabir, and silence, kamushi.
Patience and silence.
Think back to the initial crisis. The pain was instant, it was loud, it was reactive. The old life was dictated by outward interactions and demands. Now the character commits to the polar opposites.
Good.
Sabir is not just passively waiting, it's sustained, active endurance. The patience to wait for the divine response. And kamushi is the commitment to silence the worldly chatter and, crucially, silence the clamor of the ego that demanded possession.
So these virtues aren't just moral qualities, then. They're practical tools of transformation.
Precisely. Silence stops the immediate pain reaction, and patience allows the redirection of the original emotional energy.
The external failure has forced the character to focus entirely inward. The outward life was loud and it failed. The inward life is now quiet, and it's focused on enduring until meaning is achieved.
You've got it.
Okay, here is the section that I think elevates this story from a mere tragedy to a profound spiritual text. It's connecting that broken earthly pain to the ultimate spiritual realization. This is the incredible philosophical pivot point of the entire source. How does the character actually achieve this alchemy of turning utter devastation into spiritual gain?
This is where the narrative provides its core insight, and it's why this deep dive is so vital for you to understand. The key emerging belief is that the intense pain of the worldly loss, the failure of that specific connection, should not be thrown away.
Right, you don't suppress it.
You don't suppress it. Instead, it must be used as a means, or zariya, to connect with God.
So the devotion itself wasn't misplaced, just the target was. The depth of the desire remains, but it's reoriented.
Exactly. The worldly loss is repurposed. The intensity of that original possessive devotion, the very energy that drove them to the jungle in grief, becomes the spiritual energy source. The text suggests that the pain itself, in its purest, most acute form, is the spiritual tether. It is so powerful, it forces a connection to something permanent.
That stands in such dramatic contrast to the original, very human, very possessive desire. The character started out saying, I want that person and I must possess them.
Yes.
And the ultimate realization is that the intensity that fueled that possession when you redirect it is powerful enough to seek the eternal. It's an act of profound spiritual engineering, turning leaden grief into pure gold.
And we have to consider the immense effort involved here. The person wasn't just heartbroken, they were destroyed. But rather than allowing that destruction to lead to bitterness, they decide the only worthwhile pursuit is one that cannot fail them in the way the material world did.
They elevate the target.
They elevate the target. This perspective suggests that human emotion, even at its most devastating grief, loss, longing, is simply raw, powerful energy that needs conscious redirection.
I have to pause here and ask a challenging question, one that I imagine a lot of listeners might be thinking. Philosophically, that's beautiful, but practically, isn't this simply spiritualizing trauma?
Fair question.
How does the text assure us this character is truly liberated and healed, and not just avoiding the pain by running deeper into the jungle?
That is a crucial question, and the answer lies entirely in the character's final paradoxical action. If the character were simply avoiding pain, they would be indifferent or maybe resentful.
Okay.
But the final proof of genuine transformation, the evidence that the ego has been successfully slain and the pain successfully repurposed, is what they do for the beloved they lost.
Which is the final act of selfless resolution. What is that action, and why does it seal the spiritual success?
After undergoing the renunciation, shaving the head, shedding the ornaments, and embracing silence and patience, the character offers a prayer.
And this prayer?
It's not for themselves, or for the beloved to suddenly return. It is a prayer that the person they could not possess, the former beloved, may always be happy.
Analyze the depth of that for us. To wish happiness upon the very person whose decision caused your catastrophic loss. That requires the complete annihilation of self-pity and possessive desire.
It is the ultimate act of liberation. It signifies the completion of the renunciation because the pain has been fully transformed into selfless compassion.
They're no longer defined by the loss.
Not at all. Nor are they trying to control the beloved's fate or even feel superior to them. They've successfully moved beyond the possessive, worldly love that says, I love you and therefore you must be mine, to a detached, spiritual compassion. I love you and your happiness is independent of me, and that is what I pray for.
That detachment is the spiritual victory, and it allows the final physical step to commence. The decision was made in the jungle. The culmination is the entry into the jungle.
Precisely. That final physical move is the character walking deeper into the jungle, not looking back, not lingering in the scene of their past life. This walk symbolizes the beginning of the soul's true journey, the ruka safari.
So the jungle changes.
The physical environment, previously a retreat for grief, now becomes the setting for their internal spiritual exploration, free from the constraints of society and possessive desire.
So what does this whole journey from absolute earthly breakdown to ultimate spiritual breakthrough mean for you? Let's recap the transformative narrative we've extracted today. We started with an image of intense worldly devastation, triggered by seeing the beloved with another person. This led to an immediate, absolute commitment to the dervish path.
We saw that commitment made visible through those symbolic acts of shedding the ego, shaving the head, sarmunfakar,
Right.
and removing all worldly status markers, zevarat.
Right.
And this external purge was paired with an internal commitment to sustained endurance and quiet reflection, sabir and kamushi.
And the critical philosophical insight here is that the failure itself was repurposed. The pain became the zarya, the means to a higher connection. The narrative just beautifully demonstrates the transformation of utter failure into a robust, selfless spiritual foundation.
It reinforces a powerful human theme, that profound transcendence and lasting purpose can be found not in spite of ultimate loss, but directly through it.
Right.
The character's success was not in recovering the worldly relationship, but in using the very energy of that intense desire to achieve a non-material goal. That final prayer is the permanent sign that true detachment was achieved.
And here's a provocative thought for you to carry forward based on the material we've covered today. If the character's most devastating loss became the clearest path to profound spiritual change, we have to ask, does suffering possess inherent redemptive value beyond its immediate pain? What specific forms of loss, whether it's professional failure, a friendship ending, or a creative drought, might you re-examine in your own life to see if they could serve as a similar means, a zarya, to a different, perhaps higher form of personal transformation?
Take that question with you as you continue your own journey of self-discovery. Until the next deep dive, keep questioning the narratives that govern your life.
We'll see you soon.